results if it works.
Tracy, that's my middle name. Aha! Aha!
All right. We are live, everyone. That's
Wow.
Woo.
How did
wow.
that? Why did that happen? How?
Yeah. How? Why? So many questions.
We're
We want to answer
obviously
them today.
deserving.
Yeah. So, a big warm welcome to everyone who's watching. We will, of course, take questions. They will be, you can just put them in the chat or in the questions and answers box, and I'll try to watch them as good as I can. I think that there is a little bit of a delay between us and on Facebook Live, so if we don't answer quickly, that's why.
I can make sure to keep look out for the chats. So I got that
Perfect.
covered for you. No worries.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool.
So, to start, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Airi Navarovi. I'm Squire to His Majesty Eirik. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. Jedward, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Jedward Lejonbringa. I am squire to Gillian Blackhorn.
Yeah. And then we have Princess Agnes. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. I am super excited to be here today with these amazing people. I am Agnes Boncuer from the Principality of Insulae Draconis, currently doing the job of its princess for another 2.5 weeks or thereabouts. I am squire to Duke Sean Tarragon over in Artemisia, and I am also a Master of the Pelican.
Great. And Ida.
I'm Ida van Boulogne. I exist somewhere between Insulae Draconis and Polderslot in the central region. I am looking forward to this.
Balthazar.
Hi, I'm Balthazar Rebil Weiss. I am knightless, absolutely peerless. But I have been.
You're definitely peerless, Balthazar.
Yes.
We can say that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. So we're going to do a quick warm-up round, and then we're going to go into some questions. So to start, can you, with one word, describe something that you associate with the chivalry or the chivalry? So does anyone want to start, or should I point anyone out?
Okay, I can start.
Hey, go ahead.
Inspiration, I think, is the best for me, for specifically, and the chivalric part of the SCA. I think, yeah. I mean, all of the peers are an inspiration for sure, but the connotations with leadership and other things is also something to strive for.
Thank you so much.
I think that's a really good answer, Balthazar. We did get some of these questions sent in advance, so I had a look at them, and I felt really stymied by the first one, which doesn't bode well, for the rest of the show. It's just with one word, it is super hard. What do you associate with chivalry? What makes you think about chivalry? I wanted to be kind of twee and say everything, which is kind of a stupid answer, but at the same time, it's true. You said inspiration. I think I want to say aspiration, the striving towards being a better person, when that better person is defined through the lens of what we describe as chivalric virtues and behavior.
Can I change my answer to that?
No, because you inspired me.
That's great. So, a quick announcement. I think that the chat thingy in Zoom doesn't seem to work. But you can use the questions and answer part. Right? That was right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I tried to change it, but it didn't really work. So, yeah. All right. Ida, do you want to say something?
Courage.
Very nice.
Cour- Courage to do things that might not work. Courage to try new things. Courage to pursue a goal.
Yeah.
I would say helpful. Because you can be helpful in so many different ways by standing up for someone or helping them to become better, helping them to think differently or think positively, think like in different areas you can be helpful.
Yeah, that's great.
That I would say.
I am going to tag along with Ida and also say courage. That was when I thought about like one word and I was like, oh shit. And now I kind of also want to tag along with Agnes and Balthazar, but because your answers were great. But I think like the answer that I first thought of when I had the question was courage, to both know when to stand up and when to sit down. That was my initial thought.
I love that because sometimes it takes actually more courage to sit down.
Yeah.
And not necessarily, to go ahead with the knee-jerk response or whatever it is.
Yeah. I really agree with that. And to know like when to know when others are better speakers, or when to let others be the ones in the spotlight, or yeah. Oh, great. So the first speed round is up. So let's go into the first question. For those of you who are Squire, student, prodigy, or scholar, so I think we need to like come up with a quicker, like belted to someone, I guess.
Younglings.
Yeah, the younglings.
No,
to somebody.
Yeah. But to those of you who have up here, maybe is a quicker way to say it. How did you get asked, and what was the process like? And how is that relationship for you? So does no one want to start, or otherwise I can? Yeah, youngling, someone, or dependent was people's suggestions. Yeah. But Edward, we talked a little bit about this before, and I'm curious. Do you want to start?
I can surely do that. It was 2 years ago during Double Wars, I think, where actually it was Morales who started a bit earlier and was like, you should really get a knight. You should get someone. It's time. Please go on, fix this. And my thought has always been, you're supposed to be asked. You're not supposed to ask. And this is not something anyone has taught me. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? So for me, a knight is, in my vision for a knight, is that they are a D&D paladin. And for me, a paladin is those who stand up for those who who need help, or stand up for righteousness, be honorable, be noble, be this hero, in another word. It's hard to describe perfectly. But I couldn't really see who I could or who I wanted to be Squire to. So what I did was I actually went around to all different kinds of people during Double Wars, and I asked them, This is my requirements for a night. I'm looking for this, this, and this. Who should I pick? And I asked 5 different people, 5 of my friends, and people from Double Wars. And when you get the same answer out of 5 people, you have to go and ask. And for those who know me or have seen me before, you might think that I don't have a problem talking to someone or talking in front of a big crowd. I was so scared to meet this man and go over and be like, "Hi, you know this thing?" It was horrible. My pulse was at 200 minimum. But it went well, obviously. But I came over, I sat down, started talking, and then I just basically asked and was like, "This would be nice. I've heard a lot of people recommend you because this is what I'm looking for." And Guinem's response was basically, "I'm very honored. I need to think about it." And I also said, "I don't need an answer tonight. I don't need an answer now. Just think of it." And then before 30th, Dracomal 30th, we sat down and talked for 2 hours, just talking about life and everything. And then during 30th, we gathered a small group of people and we said, "Let's do this." And since then, he's my knight.
It's
So
a very
That is
private
so
thing.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Balthazar, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
It's a very private thing to do. I've though I don't have a knight, I have had a laurel, and it's like asking someone out. It just is.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing to do because yes, you can get a no. And it's okay. It's okay to get a no because you can always find someone else or look for someone else. But just because this knight is the one you've seen that might match you perfectly doesn't mean that will be the perfect match. Sometimes it's just perfect and it happens. Sometimes you have to look for them several times. But yeah, that's how it went for me.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to tag? Balthazar, you talked a little. You were talking a little bit that you had a laurel. How was that process? Did you ask or get asked? And how was yeah, what was your process in that?
I was asked by the laurel, and I was a bit like this was as big of a question to get, I can tell you, from like this you know, super powered person. And I was hesitant to answer the same day, and so we spoke about it, and went like, okay, we can talk about it for a bit, and then we set a date, and okay, so from this day on we will have like a contract for a year and a day, and try this out. And we continue doing that, going like, is this still cool? Okay, let's go another year.
Cool, that's great. So Agnes and Ida, do you want to tell us about your experiences?
I'm Squire to Sir John, and that hasn't been a year yet, because we've got that same a year and a day thing. When I started fighting, my first impression of the knights was, whatever, I can do. I don't like you guys. And I think Princess Agnes remember this from those first 3 years because there was a lot like, I don't know what to do with them. I don't like them. I can't figure out what they do.
Mostly they make our lives difficult, but you know.
Yeah, that. And then I went to Double Wars in 22, I think. Yeah, the first real one after pandemic. And I got talking with His Majesty Eriker, and he told me about his squire and a little bit about how that relationship started. And then I think I talked with you as well, Erin.
Yeah, we did. I remember that conversation.
And I came home from Double Wars because I met a bunch of other knights there. I mean, I'm in Central NID. There's not a huge amount of knights there. So I'd gone to Double Wars. I'd met more knights there. Met a bunch more. I went like, I don't know what to do with you. But I also met a couple where I was like, I respect you. I like you. And over the year after that, I sort of gradually made a list of these are people I like, these are people I could have that relationship with. This is what I want out of that relationship. And in the end, I ended up with a very small list, which included some people who were not knights yet.
Hmm.
And John was one of those people. So when I heard that John was gonna become a knight, well, when several of us heard that, there was like, no, me. I went and I talked to his wife, Maestra Atlisef. And I told her, it's like, hey, I want to ask, I don't know if it's okay to do that when he's on his vigil, because from my point of view, that's probably about the most respect I can give somebody, to say, I trust you with that. Because this is something I'm scared of. And she said, well, he wants to do a year and a day, and I think it's really cool that you don't want to put pressure. How about you write it down? So I wrote a letter. I calligraphied my letter, and I don't know any calligraphy. I found a wooden like looking thing to put it in, and I gave it to him, and I said, this is for you. You don't have to read it. I'm not going to bring up the subject of this until a year from now, and then I'll come back. And in the year that followed, we sort of very gradually built a student-teacher relationship, very naturally. And we didn't wait a year, because when we were both at Strawberry Rate, which was about 10 months in, 11 months in, my partner got very annoyed with me and said, look, I'm going to talk to him if you don't talk to him this weekend. So I put on my big girl trousers and I went, okay, can we talk? Let's go for a walk. I had a long conversation, talked about a whole lot of stuff, of things that I was looking for, things that I was concerned about, which included things like age and work and can I actually get there, and timelines, and what do you expect from me? And I went like, okay, let's do this. And then I got two options to choose where we ended up. Okay, we'll do it at Double Wars. Can you tell me which big tourneys are going to be there? Because I want to do it just in front of a big tourney. I was like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. I picked the tourney and we did it.
Cudgel. You did it at Cudgel.
Yeah, we did it at Cudgel. With lots of people looking, and I felt very uncomfortable. And we're now about 9 months later. I'm very happy I did it.
Well, I just gotta say, I got a little bit of goosebumps when you said that you wrote the thing, and yeah, so incredible. Yeah, what a great story.
That's lovely. I hadn't heard all of the details of that either.
How did you not? I think I was like, this is all coming. There's too much in my head. I didn't have medication yet at that point.
Oh, thank you so much for telling that story. Agnes, do you want to tell?
Yeah, sure. So my origin story is a little bit more complicated than most people. What you said, Edvard, about talking about the relationship earlier on, about how you don't necessarily need to get it right. So my night is my second night. I had one before that. And sometimes, like with any relationships, things change and you just find that you were not the right one for each other.
Yeah.
And then during the peak of the pandemic, so this was in the autumn of 2020, I and Sean had been talking online for years at that point. And so we knew each other already pretty well, although we had only met in Meetspace like briefly a couple of times before. But the time that I had met him previously, had been at Estrella War, and he had sought me out there. He came to our encampment and looked for me until he found me, and I was like, holy shit, this incredibly famous, incredibly high profile knight and duke came here to find me. What is happening? What am I going to do with this? And I was just like, wow. So my previous knight and him knew each other, and so when we parted ways, they sort of spoke between themselves, and a suggestion was made that I might be a good match with Sean. And so then, and that autumn, he said he wanted to call me, and he called, and he asked me would I like to be his squire. And I'm not sure if I actually said I thought you'd never ask, but it was it was around there. So I mean, I said yes immediately because I knew him, and by that stage, I didn't just know his reputation. I knew other things about him, like the fact that and everybody in that family is gonna laugh now, because to stay humble, he shovels alpaca shit at home. So anyway, so I said yes, but at that point, he lives in America, so I couldn't go to America yet because it was still COVID and the traveling restrictions were in place. So he ended up sending me a care package from the family, which contained several relevant books, and my belt, and various like fun things, and like there was D&D dice and stuff like that there, and a one of those bendy stands for a camera, because obviously we'd been having a lot of online lessons and calls and things like that. And then a year later, I actually managed to travel over, and I got my belt, and we have actually managed to see each other about twice a year since. And honestly, it's amazing. It's fantastic. I could not have imagined that there is somebody like that ever who gives a shit about me and my progress, and wants to help me become a better person. So I know you're watching this at some point. I know you're not watching it live, but I know you're watching it later. Don't worry, I'm gonna bring you down again. But anyway, it's just I couldn't be happier.
Oh, that's amazing.
Fantastic.
I love that you kind of got a Squire starter pack.
Yeah, no, absolutely, like 100%. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. So before we go into the next question, I'm going to answer the question myself.
Yes.
So I knew Erikir before. I'd met him on several occasions before that. But there was one truly memorable time where we were going into an event, and I'd been a fighter for quite a while, but I'd kind of felt like fighting had lost its spark. So I had said to myself that I'm going to this event, and and this will be the last time that I will be in my armor, and I will be done after this.
Oh.
And I was so sure that that was going to happen. So I get into armor, and this dude is there, and he just single-handedly made fighting so much fun again, and inspired me so much that I wanted to keep fighting. And this was years. I think it was a few years before he became a knight, or was it the same year? It was before he became a knight. So it's quite fun because I had like a little, not a diary, but I had some notes from that time, and I've written down that I went to this event and I was truly inspired to start fighting again, and it's because Ayuke. He's a really cool dude or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then he got knighted. And I don't really remember what event it was, but we were at an event and we were talking about being in a crown tournament or a principality tournament. And we joking, and he told me that I should try it, and I half jokingly said, "Yeah, I will if you train me," because I was not very, not practicing that much at the time. And then after a while, he asked me if I wanted to be a squire. I think this is a very summarized version, but yeah. So he asked me if I wanted to become a squire, and I was like, "Yes, hell yes." And then he was like, "No, you have to wait at least 24 hours or something like that. Think about it for a week." And I was like, "Okay, I will say yes." There's not a doubt in my mind that this is a yes. So yeah, and then I got my belt at an event at court, and it was very sweet. And he had a very sweet speech that was made. So yeah, that was a little bit of a summarized version, but yeah, that was how it went. He might disagree, might remember other details, but I think I kind of largely remember it right. So we've all at some point or another been been a youngling to appear. In that relationship, what role has chivalry played in it? And for us who are squires, we I guess we have kind of a lot of that it takes a part of it as well. But I'm super curious to hear, Balthazar, if it had a role in when you were with your Laurel. Did you talk about it, or did you? Yeah.
I think the answer is no. We didn't speak too much about it. Our relationship was a lot more a mentorship in how to climb the SCA ladder, so to speak. And a bit more, I guess, familial in having a camp together and a household. But no, chivalry did not was not one of the things we spoke about in that way.
Cool. I think as I said, I think it's more naturally might come up in a squire knight relationship, but it's very interesting to hear if it comes up in other kinds, which kind of brings me a little bit into the other question. I might be jumping them a little bit, but because Agnes and Ida, you were both pelicans, right? So do you have a youngling? And if you do you have do you bring chivalry into the conversation? Does it mix in any way, or do you bring like your experience over from from that
It's an
relationship?
interesting question. I have just taken 2 proteges who are my first proteges. We haven't even done the belt thing yet. We'll be doing that at Strawberry Raid. We haven't talked about chivalry in and of itself. But I wonder, and this is something that I'd like to throw out to the rest of you. Is there a difference between chivalry and peer-like qualities?
Ooh. Oh.
Thanks for that.
My pleasure. Because those, I'd like to think that, come up in conversation every once in a while. And obviously, when we grow on our various paths, those get discussed. Even it doesn't need to be between us and our mentors, but also, or us and our dependents, at that, but also amongst friends. And when you send Balthazar that you haven't discussed chivalry with your Laurel, I wonder if you have talked about peer-like qualities. So this is kind of what brings me back to the overall question.
Just to answer that, no, we did not speak about any kind of peer-like qualities. Not to my memory. My memory may be bad but short also. So it might have come up, but I think that's actually one of the reasons that I broke it off with my Laurel. That was not a conversation that we had very much. No.
Thank you. So I just, as a refresher for those of us who might not remember all the peer-like qualities, just a few of them, and tell me if I miss anyone. They're usually honor, courtesy. I think chivalry is in there. And service to the kingdom, leadership, grace, humility. Did I miss someone? Or should I add something?
I'm not actually sure that I've ever seen the peer-like qualities written down. They're probably in the corpora, which I have read before anybody gets any ideas. It's just that I can't remember
Sure.
them right now.
Sure.
But what you have listed there sound an awful lot like chivalric virtues.
Yeah. Like when I say it, I feel like maybe there aren't that much of a difference between the two. I guess like maybe the difference is in where your prowess is, whether it's in fighting, in service, in fencing, or in arts and science.
I would say it's hard to describe, but I would say peer-like qualities is the umbrella for everything. And then you have all the different side tracks, basically. So chivalry is one, Laurel is one, Pelican is one, and they are a bit more niche. So if you do chivalry, for example, you're niching more into that one. You still need all the others to become a peer, to become one whom someone can go to and ask, "Hi, I have this problem. What can I do? What can I say?" And you should have some kind of answer for everything. It might not be the correct answer. It can just be, I know whom you should talk to. But for me, peer-like qualities, yes, it's a little bit of everything. If it's chivalry, it's more spear-like for that specific thing. That I would say is the difference between those two, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to change my answer to that. That was nice. Yeah, because I think some of the things that I didn't mention was things like franchise, loyalty. We talked about courage earlier. So I guess like to you have pair-like qualities like the big umbrella, and then you trickle down into more specifics. I guess.
I can say we did get the everything basically qualifications for peerage from the documents.
Thank you so much. I guess it's Leah and Ed.
Yes. What we can do is we can post this so everyone can see it. And it's a lot.
Yeah. We also got in the chat a code of chivalry. Perfect. Do you does anyone else did we answer your question, Agnes?
I think so. Yeah, I mean,
great.
It sounds perfectly, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
We're going to talk a little bit more about the chivalric virtues in a bit, but we also have a question. Do you want to take that, Edwin?
Yes, we got one question from Patrick. And it's a bit connected to what we talked about earlier with asking or be asked. And speaking as someone who was never a squire and was never asked, what is your view on the responsibility for establishing the knight/squire relationship? Is it primarily the knight or the candidate that is responsible for taking the initiative? So there's no right or wrong. It's mainly what do we feel about this?
I am in a relationship, but I have a very, very strong opinion on this, and that it's that either. It is a partnership rather than a top-down hierarchical relationship. And from that point, you can go and ask a knight, or knights can go and ask somebody. I think if there is a large difference in experience in life, or even in the SEA, I might lean slightly towards people with more experience have a little bit more responsibility to make sure that newer people understand that they're allowed to ask. But that's about it. I think there's danger in making it very hierarchical, and you can only be asked, or you can only do the asking. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, don't. We like your soapbox, and I think I'm pretty sure that's what we're here for. So because everything's always relative, my answer to Panda's question is, so assuming that you're asking about who should take the initiative in terms of asking, absolutely either. Absolutely, I don't see there being any difficulty in it going either way. But if you're talking about who needs to take the initiative in terms of establishing the parameters and the practice of the relationship, then I think while both absolutely need to take part in that discussion, I do think that it is the peer on whom that onus lies a little bit more. Because the understanding is that the student is learning from the peer. Now, I have told my proteges that, one of the things, and this will be the case with any dependents that I may take in the future of whatever kind, is that I want to learn something from them as well, because I don't assume that I will ever, know everything, and learning is fun. So So again, it can't be, like Ida's saying, it can't be a rigid, my way or the highway. But we have to understand that there is, out of necessity, that bit of the hierarchical relationship is that you have a teacher / mentor and you have a student. And therefore, there is the assumption that the student is entering the relationship and is prepared to learn from the way that the teacher is doing things.
I agree completely. Since there is a power imbalance between the two parties, the one with more power, which is the teacher, has a bigger, not responsibility, but something, maybe responsibility to make sure that it is a healthy one, healthy relationship.
Yes, that.
To open up and make the student feel like they are in a safe space to learn, basically.
That's really, really important. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to second that as well. That yeah, all of the things you're saying, I think they're really good. That you have to recognize the power imbalances, and you need to create safe space. I think also that both people need to communicate their needs and how they're learning, and to have like a communicative relationship. As you say, Ida, it's a relationship, so you have to keep communicating about what you need and what you need from each other to make it the best as possible. I think also that there on a larger scale, I think we also need to get it more out there that you can, as a non-peer, that you can ask a peer.
Yes.
Because I think that when I started, I think that was also a thing that I was taught, that you get asked by someone.
Same.
So I think I think that it's something that we might need to be better at telling people that you can ask. And I think also Leah made a comment about that asking is also a personal preference for the two parties involved, and I guess that kind of goes into what we're talking about, that it can go both ways, and you have to communicate a little bit with each other in some way. We have one more question from Patrick. Let's maybe maybe let's take that one, and then we will we'll continue with our questions.
The next one is, if we imagine that you were the knight, that you are a knight, what would be the primary things you would look for in a potential squire?
Passion. Absolutely. Passion for the sport, and true passion comes dedication.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I mean, obviously, like common sense, decent person, etc. But in assuming everything else is equal, then passion.
An interest in the sport beyond I get to hit people.
Yeah. That's very nice.
Yeah, I think I will build onto that and go, a passion to become a better person. Also, not just for the sport, like Eda said. You need both.
Yeah. great answers. And I would like to jump on that and say also some kind of compatibility, so that you know that and that you actually that you have some kind of teaching chemistry, so that the way you're teaching is just not falling on deaf ears as well.
Yeah, I would say I think it might be a little bit hard for me in one way because I would like to get to know the person a bit more. I like before we say something, before we say, let's be my squire. I would think I need a bit more meat on the bones, so to say, before I can say, yeah, let's do this. But I would say what you others had said, and someone who can be themselves and just have fun, basically. Because we should never forget to have fun in the community, in the sport overall. We should always remember it's a game, and it's fun to be in the game with someone else who can actually enjoy it and be a part of it and build on it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's very true. We also do need to bear in mind, though, that when you're training, when you're doing physical training in particular, and especially if you're not naturally talented, training is not always going to be fun. And sometimes you need to kind of work your way through that, and that's why I'm saying passion. And because if you care about it enough, you will manage through with help, but you will have a better chance of getting through the periods of time when it's not fun.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
That was great.
I think I would need a good reason for why they would want me. Are you picking anyone from the camp right now, or what are you looking to get out of from this relationship with me specifically? And I think that's part of what you were talking about, Jedvar, like getting that personal, the meat of it all. And what Aaron said about the teacher-student chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, going into more details, I'd probably look for people who are compatible, which means you like to workshop things rather than want excatetorial lectures. You like to figure out how things work for yourself more than because I told you this is the shot you need to use in that in this circumstance. And I suspect, but right now this is very much a suspicion, that I'd probably be looking also for people who are interested in sort of the broader views on things. There's somebody in Central who teaches it's Treef, and who teaches skirmish fighting, and I've had really, really good conversations with him on how you run a line in a melee. And right now that's something that I find really interesting. So I'd probably be looking for people who want to know not necessarily the theoretical parts as in a book, but how does this work in practice beyond you use your hamstrings for this movement?
Yeah.
This is also me being extremely analytical, so I totally get that. Great answers. We're going to I'm going to go back to some of my questions, and,
Mm.
and I think this question is a little bit like, let's flip it a little bit. So Balthazar, this might be mostly for you, who doesn't have a peer. What are you looking for in a peer, and why would you want to have a peer? If you feel comfortable answering all of that.
Sure. And I would like to open it for the others as well. What were you looking for when you were looking before you had a peer? I am looking for a knight right now. I have been for a while. But it's a pretty recent thing that I've started to look for. I haven't felt the that passion for the game or for everything in the fighting area of the SCA until pretty recently, and I've started to look, and I've been like feeling my way forward, what I would want, and I think I'm looking for a mentor in 3 things, right? I think it's a leadership in training, right? So practice this thing more and go to practice and just inspire me to actually do the thing. The second thing I'm looking for is like expertise in the SCA as a forum for this all, like whatever politics is going on at the moment, who to speak to for whatever question you have, or how to climb the career ladder in this community. And the third thing is a more philosophical or social part, where they can speak openly about, hey, maybe that thing you did, maybe you should have done it in this other way instead. That would have been more chivalric or graceful or whatever. That's what I think I'm looking for.
Thank you.
Mm.
Great answer. Does anyone want to jump in? Tell what they were looking for. Right.
I was looking for somebody who could encourage me when I didn't believe in him. Somebody who could be a partner in this, who could be a mentor as I try to figure out how exercise works. Somebody that I got energy from to get on the field. Somebody who could convince me to, yes, I know you're tired, but try it again. As somebody who is realistic about this, that injuries happen, that, and I started at this sort of later in life than some others, which comes at a cost. I can't do more practice 7 days in a week if I'm at an event. I need breaks. So that kind of understanding was also very important for me. And in general, somebody who gets that same joy that I get when things are when I hit that flow state.
Yeah, similar things. It's everybody's saying great things. It's very difficult to kind of add anything new, because yes, to all of that. I absolutely was looking for somebody, again, I talked about passion. I wanted because I feel very strongly about the SCA and all the things that we do in it, not just fighting, but all the other cool stuff that we do. And I wanted somebody who would feel as strongly about those things as well. Somebody who I could just have fun with. So here we're talking about the fun again. So it is important. But again, like Ida says, somebody who could believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And somebody who was able to deal with the very great many demons that I have in my head at any given time. So those kind of things.
Mm. I already said what I wanted from my knight. I've also been looking into maybe looking for a laurel. Gilliam does have knight laurel pelican. So I could just say, hi, can I get the others also? But I it's not fair. But I would also like to have someone else to get a broader view, a different view for the society part, mostly. But right now, I've been slowly or carefully been thinking of I maybe should look for a laurel, because I do have a creative side that I want to explore more, but it would be nice to have someone that I could go to and be like, okay, so I want to try this, but I don't have the motivation. I really need some kind of support to get me to start doing the thing, to just try to be creative more than I am right now. So what I talked about before we started this little project I have, this is my little project baby that I have, and I'm putting everything into it, and I'm learning more about how everything works, and I'm trying to do the research just so I don't do the mistakes that someone else already has. So I'm right now looking, or kind of started slowly peeking into, is there maybe a laurel out there?
Super interesting. Tell us what you find, if you find some, and how that process goes when it happens.
I think
when
we'll
it
know.
comes. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, that's great. I think at the like all of you have said, I would like to just add on to that. At the beginning, when I got Squire to Heidegger, there was also things that I was looking for. Someone absolutely to help me evolve as a fighter, and evolve in the SCA, because I felt like the SCA was so big and there were so many things. And who am I supposed to call your grace? And who is their highness? And is it Sir Majesty now, or what is happening? Where are the thrones going? What is corpora even? Yeah, all of that stuff. So to act as a guide in the big yarn that is the SCA, that was also a big part of it. But also as a way into the fighting community. I think also to kind of introduce me to other fighters, because I felt sometimes I felt like I didn't really know how to talk to other fighters, and he helped me maybe a little bit unconsciously to do that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah, because what do you say to a fighter if you're not a good fighter? I felt like you have to be a really good fighter to be allowed to talk to other fighters, because then you could be like, "Oh, did you see that? Did you see that flat that I threw at you? Oh, that was fucking great," or something like that. And you talk about how great you both are. That was kind of my perception. No, of course, I knew it was more than that, but you know,
I find that if you say to them, "Hey, fight me,"
Oh yeah.
yeah, but and I've evolved since then. But back then when I was I didn't go to many big events either, so that was also a thing. But I think also as I'm getting older and learning more about this, learning more about the chivalry, I feel that, like every step I'm like, oh, this is a quality that I would like to learn, and then bam, here's my knight, and that is a quality that he has, and I will be inspired by that. So that's I feel like the longer the squirehood is going on, the more I learn and the more I realize that we are a great match. So that, yeah, I think that is very what I was looking for in a very long answer, maybe. So the next question, we already talked a little bit about what role does learning about chivalry play in the relationship, or what role should it play? So I think we're gonna go for like maybe 20 more minutes, and then we'll end for tonight. Does anyone have anything they want to add to that question? Like what role does learning about chivalry play or should play in a youngling peer relationship?
I can start for now, to give others a little bit more time to think as much as anything else. A lot of it, I think, is sort of unspoken. Like, we don't necessarily kind of go, oh, this is chivalric or this is unchivalric or whatever. But there's one of the sort of core principles that there is, in our relationship and in the relationships that my knight has had with all his other squires and his own knight, is that you need to do knightly things. And it doesn't matter whether you are a knight or a squire or whatever. If you do knightly things, then that's chivalry. And those can be the simplest things, like your classic, help somebody carry something, or just be there when somebody needs help, make an inspiring speech if that's your thing, or of course, especially on the field. So you behave courteously on the field in the list. So you're careful, with your shots, erring, on the side of caution if you're not sure about, whether somebody got a good shot on you or not. Let err on the side of caution and trust, like as in that case, for instance, the whole thing of take shots that seem reasonable, but trust the chivalry of the other person as well, that if something landed and you're not sure about it, that they are going to say, oh no, there wasn't anything in that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to jump in? Otherwise, I'll go.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, but I think as I said earlier, I had a lot of thoughts coming into Squirehood, but I also in 2019 when I headbutted a spear, and it didn't really it wasn't a good idea, so I couldn't fight for quite some time. It became more obvious to me through my knight that how much chivalry is more than just being good at something. It's and what you display to others. It's also a part of yourself, and I feel like one role that chivalry has played in a relationship is that it has allowed me to change as a person, and I think becoming better as a person, more direct, more courageous in daring to ask for things that I want, say no, to act when I see something that is bad, and to say something. But also, as you say, Agnes, also trust other fighters. to tell me what is a good or is not good. So so I guess the role that it has played for me is allowing me to change on a deeper level than just what I display for others.
As she completely nails it and, leaves the rest of us speechless.
Yeah, thanks for that one.
Yeah, I've just thought about this for a very long time, and now I'm gonna let you all take the scraps. No, just kidding. But yeah,
I would say we haven't really so much talked about it. We have basically realized that we both think much alike about different scenarios and such. But I have been trying to get some more courage, and I see my knight as the source of it, because I see him doing a lot of things, and basically I need to face my own fears that I have, and I take him as an inspiration, because if he can do it, why can't I? So I would say that we maybe not have spoken so much about it, but it's the aura that he gives out that inspires me to become more chivalrous and doing things that is hard or difficult for me, or talk about things that are hard and difficult, or even talking, because that has been one big flaw for me, that I close up very much, and I have a problem with talking about if things are difficult. So that has been a challenge for me, and I've tried to actually worked on that a lot, and I've seen that yes, I can slowly but surely do it. It's gonna suck, but you can still try. So I would say more aura than speaking.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it too. Yeah, definitely. Example and
Thank
inspiration.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. I got something from that. Being courageous enough to be honest and still graceful in your honesty. I think is a big part of the chivalrous part of the relationship, on how to build that part of me. I think that's something that I need to work on a lot, because when you gather up the courage and become honest with something that you need to become courageous to speak about, that's not always going to be so graceful, at least for me. Yeah.
thank you. I really love that grace in your honesty. That was spot on. All right. Ida, do you want to tag on and say something, or do you just go on?
I find the chivalric virtues complicated. And this was part of the conversation. At least I think it was part of the conversation I had with John beforehand. Or possibly it only happened in my head. When he got knighted, he was really into it being like a medieval knighting ceremony. And to me, that was like, I don't know what to do with this. Because to me, a lot of the chivalric virtues are come down to don't be a dick. Be an honest person. Take everybody else along with you. And I find it complicated.
I got a little book when I became John Squire on the chivalric virtues. It's a funny book because it's not a real book. And we were gonna talk about it. We were gonna do lots of things about it. We kind of never got around to that. We have general conversations about some of them sometimes, but that's about it. I think in our case, it's more a live the thing rather than talk about the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Live the
Uh,
thing.
I can actually add a bit more on that one, as I've been thinking about it also. For a chivalry thing for me, that I've been doing a lot or trying to, is that you are being able to be wrong, and you can actually take it. You can be wrong and then ask, what have I done wrong? Can I write it in any way, or can I learn from you so I don't do the mistake again? That I would say is a thing for all peerage
Yeah.
that you should be able to do, from squire, from youngling, or even up to a peer, or up to a peer, that you should be able to be wrong, and you should be able to listen if someone else has a different view, if they have a different what do you say?
Perspective.
Yes. And if they maybe have new knowledge that you don't possess right now, you should be able to take that into consideration and be more of, oh, I didn't know that. Can you please teach me? Or I was showing a flat snap to someone and they correct you for it. You shouldn't directly go into, oh, but I'm better than you. You should be more of, oh, okay. Can you tell me why? Can we talk about the question so we both can learn from it? I think it's something I'm working a lot on, and I am more than happy if anyone has anything that I'm doing wrong or good, for that example also, please tell me so we all can learn about it.
Great. Great answers. Does anyone else have more to say on this question?
I just wanted to kind of note real quick that Edward's answer there seems to go back to this graceful truth, or grace in truth, because part of that is truth with yourself as well, and sort of and having grace with yourself when you make a mistake or you're wrong, and then you are able to say, yeah, actually I was wrong, or I didn't know that, or oh shit, I'm really sorry that I did that. All of these things.
Yeah, great. So we have a quick question.
We actually got it from his king himself. Do you think that it's part of the responsibility of a squire or youngling to help their knight grow and learn as well?
Absolutely, without question.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's a good conversation to have. Maybe from peer to youngling, what the other person expects to learn, and what you can help maybe, and also like along the way, I guess we learn from each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it may not be the responsibility to train their teacher, but to give feedback and to update on how is the relationship going, and what new things do you want to try out, and yeah, that kind of everyone has something they could grow from, and you can learn something from everybody. Yeah.
This is gonna come back to you're both adults in this relationship. And once you are sort of out of formal training contexts, school, most of your learning will be peer-to-peer. You will learn from your manager. Your manager will learn from you, unless your manager is a dick. And this applies to SEA relationships as well.
Hmm.
I'm gonna take a little bit of a related detour, but detour nonetheless. And I want to talk about fealty for a little bit. I know that not all dependent peer relationships include fealty. The one that I am in currently does. And while it's not necessarily a deal breaker, I would very much like my dependents, certainly proteges, to offer it to me as well. I think I would be more definite about it, were I ever to have squires. But the reason that it's important to me is that it is a public commitment to mutual exchange and to mutual partnership. So it is absolutely not a situation, where you become somebody's, sworn servant or, one of these things. Maybe part of it, but it shouldn't ever be anything one-sided. And I see the fealty as a concept as it would have been in period, and as we are treating it, in society, or in my opinion should be treating it. Your mileage may vary, but it is this, sometimes, when I'm talking about these relationships, I make people laugh, when I make an analogy that it's like a marriage, but that's the kind of level of commitment that it is in my head. It doesn't need to mean that it means the same thing to you, or the relationship that you're in, but this is why we're talking about the necessity to feel somebody who feels about things the same way as you do, and communication, and match, and wanting to, the ways of working that work for you and for them. But in my opinion, in the concept of fealty, there is that inherent idea of exchange and partnership.
I would say yes. It's as you have two different upbringings, you have different kinds of knowledge overall. I would say you should be able to learn from each other, because that's what we're doing basically within the society overall. I mean, if someone comes in with this new project, someone else can learn from it, even if they're a peer or not a peer, if they're 80 years old or if they're 5. I mean, there's no limit on where the knowledge can come from. So I'd say yes, of course. A squire or a youngling can teach something also. It doesn't mean the peer is all-knowing just because they're a peer.
What's your take on the responsibility part of the question? The responsibility of the youngling teaching their peer?
I would say yes. As much as it's a responsibility for the peer to be able to teach the youngling things also. So it's a give and take situation. If you are not capable of gaining knowledge from someone who's below you, beneath you, younger than you, are you really a peer? That I would say.
I want to tag into that a little bit because I think as you were talking about earlier, that we in the youngling pair relationship, we need to create a safe space to be honest and to be open with one another, and in that safe space there has to be a symbiosis,
Symbiosis.
symbiotic, yeah.
Symbiotic
Uh,
relation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, symbiotic relationship. So um if I do something wrong, I expect my knight to tell me, and I guess that it would have to go both ways. And partly because if I see something wrong, I should tell someone that it's wrong as a part of my own chivalric journey. But also because um, my knight is human, or my peer is human, and they have to be allowed to make mistakes, and there have to be a space for them to also to grow and learn, to be to be human, and it's I guess it's always nice if you do something wrong, or if you need to learn something, that you have someone that you trust to tell you that it's that something wasn't good, or that we can do this in a different way.
Mhm. That's a great question. I like that one.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you, Your
So
Majesty.
yeah, thank you. So we are going to do a quick finishing round, and then we're going to finish up. So can each of us just quite quickly describe a knightly virtue or a chivalric virtue that speaks to you right now? And I am going to do the thing again where I just start. So for me right now, a virtue that I'm stuck on is courage, because I've been having not like bad or hard conversations, but a few conversations where I've had uh, to be honest and truthful, but also use grace in it, and to find the courage to do that. And I've read a great book called Critical Think no Cri Critical Conversations, that was quite helpful in that. So right now I'm quite stuck on courage, and having the courage to actually have the hard conversations, and to try to not make it hard.
Hmm. Anyone else, or should I?
I'll go
Please
for
go.
humility.
Humility.
Hmm?
It's also outside of the SCA. Trying to find my place as a new pelican and the squire in sort of a very sort of essentially the same time frame. And in the last 2-3 years at work, I also went through a transition when I became a manager. And I'm trying to find a balance between owning what I can do and the skills I have without becoming too proud of them.
What a great answer.
Hmm. I am right now working on 2 of them, a bit more than the others. Right now, I'm working a lot with loyalty and prowess. So, loyalty is for my friends in particular, and prowess is that damn buckler is small and it's annoying and it hurts a lot.
There isn't a tournament or something that you're training for, right?
No, nothing is particular in 2 weeks or something. I don't know what you mean.
We
Yeah.
absolutely never have targets for those tourneys. Never.
I'm gonna say, if you don't, Edward, I'm gonna say Parawas as well, because all of those other things can be practiced off the field. Prowess is something that I have limited opportunities to train and practice. It has taken me quite a long time to get even to the level where I am now. And I know that getting up to the next level and the level after that is going to be even more difficult. I think of myself as a reasonably decent pelican. At least nobody has complained yet, which I'll take as a win. But it's difficult to think about prowess as of the level that we're talking about here that is attainable. Even though evidence of progress is there, but you know, there's a bit of doubt always. You know, well, was that just a fluke? You know, was that just something that happened? Is it going to happen again? That kind of thing. So prowess is definitely the one that I'm struggling with most.
I think I've been looking through the virtues, and there are some that I am working actively on, and some that I should need to work on a bit more as well. And I am working on the prowess part, you know, actually trying to train. And courage to face fear or danger and stuff like that. I think what something that I should be working on as well is generosity, to remember to give what I give of myself, and not because I'm very often just trying to keep up this person upright, but also make sure that everyone else is upright also. Or to share what I can do, or teach of what I can tell.
Oh wow. So that was everybody, I think. So we're at the end for at the first Squire Talk. Hell yeah. Wow, I'm so happy. I think I speak for us both that when I say that we're so happy that you came. Our marvelous guest, you've been amazing, and you brought so many interesting perspectives. And to all our guests who have been listening to this, thank you so much for all of your comments and your questions. They're amazing. I also realized like 2 minutes ago that I didn't press record, as I said I would. So
Oops.
this very nervous person did not press record, but
I
it is
love
up
it.
on Facebook
I
Live.
love it.
So
It's on Facebook, right? Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's on Facebook. So I'll see if I can take it over from there to YouTube, but
Amazing.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You've been great.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for organizing this.
Thank you. So I hope we'll see each other at future events, and if not, then over here again in the future.
Yay!
Mhm.
Yay! Okay, thank you, everyone.
See ya.
See you and
Thank
have
you.
a good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.